Hello.
Well, hi there. We're back again in the studio doing our next podcast.
Wow, this is really wonderful. The first one was really a great success. I just want to say welcome to Rose City Accordion Limited podcast series. This is our second episode, and today we have somebody very exciting with us here in the studio.
We do.
Can't wait to be able to interview him and find out where life has taken him.
Life and music.
And music, right. So before we get started today, we'd like to just remind everybody that part of this series will include a live stream of our Rose City Accordion Camp. So, Bobby?
You want to hear a little bit more about camp?
I want to hear some more about it
well,
because I just need to get so excited about this.
Well, we've been excited now for 2 years about this camp. It's finally coming down and happening. Well, last time I told you that we had almost a full house. We now have a full house. We have about 40 accordionists who will be in the orchestra, and we've got the scores coming in a couple of weeks that will be dispersed to the players, and we're just waiting for the opening of camp at August 29th. Mm-hmm. And just to repeat, this broadcast is going to be on the September 2nd evening, I believe. Yes.
And we will certainly put that up on our screen so you can see when you need to check in and go live with us, because this is going to be very exciting this year. This is a very large orchestra that's going to be of accordions. This is something that you just don't normally hear. You might hear a mixed band, but to have 40 plus accordionists isn't an incredible sound. It's so beautiful.
And I think we need to mention also that these podcasts, which are a limited amount, will be presented up until camp, which means that those of you who are listening to this want to make sure you subscribe and pass this link on to your friends so that when it comes time for the concert on September 2nd in the evening, many, many people around the world will be able to hear this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is so very exciting. And our conductors that we have this year, do you know if they're writing their own compositions for this, or
we have two?
What are we hearing?
Well, we have two entirely different styles presented. Mm-hmm. We have one conductor who presents some of the most classical. I heard what the four are going to be when I talked to her yesterday. It's going to blow your mind.
Oh, wow.
The other conductor writes the score for his.
Great.
And so we have both. And he has oftentimes put a little Brazilian flair into his music.
Can you imagine what that's going to sound like? Oh, that's a very exciting news. So,
and also we might be seeing them on a podcast.
Oh, stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Because that will even make you want to tune in to our stream line for that night. So, with this camp, my understanding that they have a raffle.
Well, I have a friend, who gets both of us into a lot of trouble. And several years ago, we decided to make a camp quilt and raffle it off. And that year, the quilt was stunning, and we collected, I think, around $800 in the raffle. Mm-hmm. And with that money, we presented the following year 2 camp ships to people. But we also made one for that year, and that was just 2 years ago. It brought in a whopping amount of money. And so it's kind of a tradition for us to get together, but we have kept this year's raffle items a secret.
Yes, it is a secret. And I think everybody that attends is going to be really very excited that what they're going to end up being able to spend their $5 or so on the raffles.
$20.
$20. Wow. This is wonderful. I love it. I love it. So along with that, one of the participants that will be coming to camp has been to camp with us at least 5 to 6 times over the course of the camps that we've had. And we have with him today with us here in the studio. And I'd like to introduce Mark Greathouse. Welcome, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes, nice.
Wow, quite an honor.
Yes, that's wonderful. Mark, Could you tell us today a little bit about your background and music and when you got started? And
Well, it goes way back. It's always better to say how old I was when I started rather than how many years ago it was.
That's a good idea.
But I was 5, and my dad, who was a music teacher in Portland, he taught accordion, banjo, guitar, Hawaiian guitar, and various other instruments, but he, on my 5th birthday, gave me an accordion.
About this size?
I was going to say, it's about that size. It was actually a 36 bass accordion.
Oh.
And guess what? I got free lessons.
Because,
Well, I don't know what the answer to that was, but one thing, there was a requirement, and that's I had to keep a chart of how many hours I practiced every day. And that followed the tradition he had when he was learning how to play as well.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. So your father had a background in music, and I think you had some siblings. Did any of those siblings play music too, or your mother?
Well, my mom played piano some, but she never wanted anybody to hear it. So, she had to wait until everybody was out of the house and she played. But my 2 siblings, Gordon and Lowell, each of them did play accordion some, but I think they discovered that each brother, there were 3 brothers altogether, each one had to go in a separate direction. You had to be identified with a direction, and mine seemed to be music. So
Wonderful.
They didn't want to follow along and do that. They were both younger, so still are
wonderful. So could you tell us a little bit about, did you play any other instruments or when you were in high school? Or?
Well, I played some piano. I guess you could probably say I tinkered around on piano, but it was nothing, there were no lessons. But I had interest in trying to come up with melodies and various things. But I never played for public. It was always the accordion. My dad and I actually did various shows around the Portland area, and mostly in West Portland, out toward Beaverton, in the area where I grew up. And we did shows. It was, what did he call it? Puller Pop and Pusher Son, or maybe it was the other way around. It was the other way around. But in any case, the 2 of us played songs together and entertained a lot of people.
Wow, that's exciting. Now, it's my understanding that you were in, I believe, some concerts or some musical events that Bobby here had also attended.
When I was interviewing Mark for his bio a couple of months ago, he was sending me different programs from when he was taking lessons as a teenager, and I went, oh my gosh, I went to that concert, which was one where Charles Magnani was. We were probably sitting on opposite ends of the auditorium. And then my music teacher in Portland was just a block away from your dad's music studio. So I wonder how many other people out there during that era, actually had a connection with us. It would be interesting to find out.
You never know.
Yeah.
If anybody happened to have been to the Charles Magnani recital that he gave, that's amazing. A full evening of accordion music with an intermission.
From the best.
Yeah, really, there wasn't any. And I actually met Charles Magnani. My dad put on, and had other people put on recitals in Portland, accordion recitals, and there were groups from all over the Northwest that participated in these recitals. And I met Charles Magnani one time, and what I remember about him when I shook his hand was how soft his hand was. I thought, gosh, playing all those notes must have been different. But anyway, it was extremely soft, and he was a very cordial man. Very enjoyed meeting him.
Very interesting.
And so his influence on you makes me was wanting to know how much of an influence did he really have on you? because I see today that you had brought this sheet music here, which when I look on the inside of it, it says July 7th, 1955.
Oh my gosh.
So could you play us a little short tune or so that of
Sure.
Charles's music and what you were playing at the time when you were 12 years old?
Well, that particular piece may be well known among accordionists, and somebody once told me it was the piece that Charles Magnani uses to warm up. But, you know, I don't know. That's just rumor. But it's called the Cordiana.
Wow.
It goes on. It goes on and on.
That's incredible to be able to play that when you're approximately 12 years old.
Well, you
That
know,
was lovely.
what's
Lovely,
interesting, though,
yes.
is, and really important, is that when kids learn whatever it is that they want to be or want to learn at such an early age, it sticks with them. I mean, here I was 12 years old, and I can still play it.
Yes,
So,
that's incredible.
Amazing.
Well, thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you doing that for us.
I have a few questions.
Yes, I think you do, Bobby. I can see those in the back of your eyes there. Let's hear it.
Well, I interviewed Mark back a couple of months ago, and he mentioned in his bio that he was inspired by German music because he had gone to Germany. Would you tell us a story about other things that might have happened in Germany, too?
Boy. Well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll make it short. I studied at the University of Hamburg in Germany. I was a German major in college, and got my degree in German and taught many years German, language, literature, whatever. But I wanted to actually be where German was spoken the purest. Actually, they say Hanover, not too far from Germany, is the purest German, but Hamburg is very close behind. And so when I was a student at the University of Hamburg, I went on a one-day bus trip organized by the University of Hamburg, and I heard this voice, this feminine voice singing. It was so beautiful. And later on that bus trip, it turned out to be my future wife, Helena Greathouse. Helena. It wasn't Greathouse at the time, it was Forksamova. That was her last name. And she's from former Czechoslovakia. Anyway, we met on the bus. And
Wow, so that started a romance that led to a marriage that led to a duo. And so whenever you were first performing before others, what were some of the songs that you were playing? Could you give us a sample of some of the music that you
sure.
started off playing with?
Okay, so Helena, it turns out, was also a student at the University of Hamburg. She was studying statistics and sociology and economics primarily, economics and statistics. And so once we met each other and we knew we had a musical future ahead of us, maybe, we started performing at a German restaurant. It was the restaurant was German, but only foreign people could perform there. The Germans were in the audience, foreign people could be there. And so Helena taught me all kinds of Czech and Slovak folk songs, Helena being Czech. One that we played was called Kecambula. and then she would dance. She would dance and
Beautiful.
sing.
Wow.
And can I
Incredible.
just, because you're mentioning your duo with singing and dancing, you have produced a couple of folk song CDs. I just wanted to point that out at this
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
this point.
That's really quite gorgeous. And so from that, it led to you doing performances, well, in quite a few places. And I think you had told us in the interview that, how many have you just performed right here in the United States?
In the United States?
Yes.
Well, gosh, we've done so many. We've done, actually, we did so many in independent living, assisted living. We did, I know I counted them, 286 just in those kind of facilities, but then many libraries. Now we're just doing it in libraries. But, you know, it's such a passion. We started our little duo officially once we retired from, shall we say, our jobs that we had. And once we had time, we formed a duo called Greathouse of Music.
And so what led to you when you were doing that, that you wanted to enhance your performance and bring something more full to the audience? And my understanding that you started doing a lot more composing of your own music.
That's true, yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your passion for composing and sharing it?
Well, you know, I think I can probably say that I've always really liked to create my own music. But I never did it, shall we say, officially. It was always just little melodies, but melodies always captivated my mind. And so it wasn't until after I retired in 1999 that I decided I was going to actually take piano lessons, because I thought my compositions lended themselves to piano. And I wasn't really a pianist, but I used to play around on the piano and come up with new songs. So I took about 5 years of piano lessons until I knew that there could be little 12-year-olds dancing circles around me. I never would be much of a pianist. And besides, accordion's my home instrument. So anyway, I created a lot of melodies.
And with this here, Rose City Accordion Club has a scholarship, youth scholarship program.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about
Yes.
that. It was just concluded on May 31st, and we ended up with 8 young accordion players. It is going to be very difficult for the people choosing the winner because they're all really great. From the age of 5 all the way to the age of, I believe, 15. But let me tell you a little bit about this scholarship. Because Mark has been composing songs, he offered to donate 4 of his songs as a packet, and it was offered to anyone for 2 months. And during that 2 months, enough of his compositions were sold to gather money enough for not only scholarships for this year, but also some for next year. So
that's
we
exciting.
really thank you so much. And all of the people who bought them also, because the two together is what made the scholarship
Right.
program
Yeah.
work this year.
So we hand out these scholarships once a year. And so if there's any accordion teachers that are out there that is listening to this podcast, please make sure that you contact us and have your students apply for this, because it is really very important to keep the accordion alive. And so, Bobby, can you tell me a little bit how you got involved with the youth scholarship program, and how do you feel about
Do you really want to know? You appointed me.
Oh, that's right.
There was no.
You know, that's-
No. I really have a passion for this. Actually, for 1 year, my granddaughter played the accordion, and it was like, oh, but we won't talk about that. But when you have a youth playing the accordion, for those of us at our age, it really is something that makes your heart melt. Mm-hmm. And since I've been, actually during this year of COVID, and we've met so many people through Zoom across the United States in our Zoom accordion meetings, I have found out that there are many youths across the United States, many teachers out across the United States who are promoting the youth, and it's very exciting. I think there's
a future.
There's a hope out there.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby. Mm-hmm. I think we need to kind of wrap up our podcast for today, and I'm really very excited to hear one of Mark's compositions that he has created.
So this is one of my original compositions called Just Gettin' By.
Okay, well, thank you, Mark, for the wonderful interview today. I have really appreciated it. It's very enlightening what you have accomplished and what you have contributed in the many years of volunteering on our Rose City Accordion Club board. You have really done an awful lot to help support the accordion in our community. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Bev. It's always a pleasure to be among accordionists, and particularly to be some kind of an inspiration for young players. And but it's been a real honor to be here, and I thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and I also want to mention that Bev and I and our club have seen your performance, and again, that's another creative endeavor of yours. I know that you've written some of the music, and you've written the script for your performance. And I encourage all of you who see the Greathouse name someplace in a newsletter or newspaper to
library events.
Oh yeah.
To make sure
go
you
out
go
and
out.
See this.
Yes, go out and see this show. It's very exciting.
I think you're talking about You Do Speak English, don't you?
Ah, that's what it's called.
That's the name of the show.
You do speak English, don't you? Well, thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you taking the time to come into the studio today.
You're welcome.
So, Bobby,
yes,
it's going to be hard to beat what we're going to be having to do next after interviewing
I don't know.
Mark.
You've got a few things up your sleeve.
Well, I've been thinking, about a couple things, and, and I think one thing we should maybe try to do is interview the conductors. So.
Oh, of camp? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I think that would be
First
very
of all,
exciting.
they are known around, I'm going to say around the world, because one of the conductors, Gabe, does a lot of work down in South America. And Bev, the other conductor, is from Canada, and she's led orchestras in the United States and Canada. So they're well-known people, and I think that we need to introduce them to
I think
other
so,
people
and
around
also,
here.
you know, we even have some local talent that he's going to be giving one of the workshops, and he's really into the blues and improv, and we also have Toby Hansen, who's...
Well, don't forget, Courtney Vondraley is the one who does the blues and
That's
the improv,
right.
and he'll be doing a workshop at camp, and then Toby Hansen
Toby
also.
Hansen. Toby Hansen, you know, there's something exciting about him that maybe one day we really need to interview him because...
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do
right.
it because you know what? He owns something that is a very exciting...
What is that?
Oh, he owns Gene Autry's accordion from his band. I mean, what more could one want when
I
one's
wanna
a Western
see that.
girl?
I want to see that.
Yeah, we'll have him here and playing that
Okay.
cowboy music on
We've
that
got a
Gene
lot of
Autry.
exciting things coming up in
We
our
do.
limited series here, so
So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you. This is Bev.
And Bobby.